Hi Stampers, welcome back to our Merriest Trees series. Today I've got something delightful in store for you. I'm so excited. We're going to dive into the world of Christmas tags created with the wonderful Merriest Tree bundle. So you have the pretty stamp set with the nice little sentiments with a beautiful, beautiful font. And then you have a ton of dies. So we have tree dies and decoration dies, star dies, and we have the tag die. So we haven't used that yet, so we're going to use it today. But before we get started, just a really quick thing about why I like making tags. Whenever I find a stamp set that makes tags, I get really excited because it's a great way to use up a lot of your pretty designer series paper, the little scraps. The tag we're making today basically takes a 2.5-inch square of scrap. And so that's great when you can do that. And of course, ribbons too. You can use any kind of ribbons you have on hand. So I do like tags. And when I make a tag, I don't just, hang it on my package. I like to like stick it right in the middle of my package. So it's like a really decorative point. Instead of having a bow, I like putting my tags on there. And this makes a nice big tag. So you could use it that way if you want. So let's get started. So today we're going to make 2 stunning Christmas tags. Each one has its little unique charm, but the best part is we're going to be layering layers of trees and alternating them with pretty paper to create this pretty eye-catching tag. Isn't that pretty? I just love it, love it, love it. So the first tag, I used the Countryside in Designer Series paper, and then I paired it with navy cardstock. And that combination is really, really pretty, don't you think? So I'm going to bring my cutting machine in and I'm going to show you exactly how I cut the layers. If you saw yesterday's card, I did that also, but I didn't actually show you. So we're going to make the tag and I'm going to bring my cutting machine in and we're going to cut it together. So I don't have the mini, so we're going to use the big cutting machine. It's my workhorse. It's really been through a lot lately. And as you know, I'm making lots and lots of videos, right? So let's talk about today's tag a little bit more. I cut the tag out in white and I embossed it with the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. So it really has beautiful texture on there. And then I have 2 navy trees that I already cut out and a tree from the Countryside Corners Designer Series paper. And the dies, you saw there's 5 different dies, and so I used the die that has the 3 tiers. So I'm going to keep this one off to the side, and I'm going to take these 2, and I'm going to cut them at the same time. So again, I cut the tree out in this one. This is the 3rd, well, it doesn't matter. It has 3 tiers, 1, 2, 3. So that's the one I cut the tree out of. And now I'm going to bring in the die that has just 2 layers. I'm going to line these 2 up. And then I'm going to put the die right up at the top. And it kind of fits into a groove when you do it. And I'm going to cut both of these out at once. Okay, so it cut off the bottom layer. And now I got to find my other piece here. It's somewhere on this little desk. I'm sure I can find it. So I should have the other layer somewhere around here. Oh well, I will find that in a second. So now I'm going to bring in the very smallest die. I'm going to put my 2 pieces together. And I'm going to put this right at the top. And again, it kind of just fits right in there. You can kind of feel where it should lay. And I'm going to cut that out. So now I have, oh, there it is right there. I knew I'd find it. So let me show you I'm going to cut out one more piece and then I'll show you all the pieces that we have cut out. So now I'm going to take another scrap. This is boho blue. And I'm going to bring in one other piece of that die. I'm going to bring in this part of the die. And this is going to create a tag topper. So let me show you all the pieces we cut out. So I still have one solid navy tree, and that was cut with that one. And then we ran it through the cutting machine, and we ended up with those little pieces. And we also cut the little, I'm calling it a tag topper. And what that's going to do, it's going to reinforce the top of our tag. And it's really pretty to have on there also. So let's put our tag together. Let's do a little stamping first. So I'm going to bring in Night of Navy. And I have a strip of boho blue. And in the stamp set, there's a stamp that says to you and yours. So this is about a 1/2 inch strip. And this is what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to even make it a little skinnier. And I'm going to banner this edge. Oops. And then when I'm ready to put it on my tag, I'll cut it even shorter. So that stamping is done. And here's my tag, so you can use it as a point of reference. Okay, so the way I put this together, really simple. I use this as my, my base. And I did try to make one without having a base. And the sizing didn't work exactly right. It's kind of hard to get the layers exactly where you want them to be unless you have a base. You could use a white base, though. You don't have to use navy, because when you get done, it really doesn't show through. So I'm going to start with the navy. I'm going to mimic this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on. I'm going to glue it right at the bottom here, right where it goes. Then I'm going to take the next layer in our pretty paper, and I'm going to glue that one on. And I'm just going to lift it up just a little bit, like that. And then I'm going to bring in the navy piece. And this piece I'm going to put right where it goes. So you can kind of follow your base there. And that's where it goes. Oh, there's Henry. They're still working on our street. So I'm sure he's talking to the guys. So I just layered that one down, just lifted it up a little bit. I'm going to go tell Henry to chill, so I'll be right back. They're cutting the cement out there with the saw, and my husband's sitting out there watching them. I'm like, there's a lot of dust out there. Yuck. Okay, so now we're going to glue the next one on, the next layer. And I'm putting it right where it goes. And you'll know what I mean when you do this, because you'll see that base layer below. And so I'm just laying that piece on right on top of where the base, says it should go. And now I have this last little piece, and I'm just going to layer that right on there. So we'll let that sit for a second, and we'll bring in our tag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this piece on, and it just fits really nice. There's a nice little score line on here, folds right in half. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue and put it right on the top of my tag. So it's sturdy and it's pretty. But you gotta let that glue set for a second. Okay, now this piece is going to go right about there, so I'm going to shorten it. I actually lifted this up. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back. And I kind of lifted this up, so I kind of did it all at once. So it kind of went underneath that little piece there. And then I popped this up with dimensionals. And then I added a couple of bows. So I got this silver twine on this one. So I'm just going to cut a small piece off. And I folded it in half, and I'm going to feed it from the front to the back. And then I'm just going to loop these two pieces right through that loop and then pull it tight. Whoop! And it came undone. Do that one more time. Okay, let's hold it in place there. And then I brought in some coordinating ribbon, and I cut off about 10 inches. You don't need 10 inches, but if you cut it smaller, it's hard to tie a bow. Then I brought in a heavy punch. and I used that to help me hold my tag in place. And then I just tied a pretty bow. And there is the first tag. What do you think? You like it? Wasn't that easy? And it's so pretty. I mean, that is really gorgeous. You put that on a gift and, you know, they're not even going to care what's inside, right? Well, maybe they will. Okay, we're going to make another one. And for the second tag, we're going to do a traditional holiday spirit. And I'm using the Joy of Christmas paper, and it adds that festive touch, and it's just perfect for this season. I love this one. So I'm actually going to show you two. They're very similar, they're just opposite. And I'll show you the paper. So this is the 12 by 12, 2 sheets from the 12 by 12 pack of Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper. So I showed it to you yesterday. It's very traditional. It's a lot of greens and reds and poinsettias and hollies. And then it has these two pieces. And I thought these would be really pretty for our Christmas tag. So before we make our second tag, I want to remind you guys of Stampin' Up's Starter Kit Special. They call it a starter kit, but it's perfect for anybody. I mean, if you are a beginner and you don't have any supplies, this is a great deal. And if you're an avid stamper and you have a long wish list, again, this is a great deal. It's a great way to get a lot of supplies. Basically, it's 35% off the normal $99. So you pay $64.35 and you get to pick $125 worth of Stampin' Up products out of either of the catalogs, the annual catalog or the new holiday catalog. And the other option, which I don't know, I think I like this one the best, is you get 35% more. You pay $99 and you get to choose $168.75 worth of products. So I just want to make sure you guys know about this. It's going on through the month of October, and I'm going to be repeating it. Hope you don't get tired of me repeating it, but it's such a great deal. And if I have any newcomers out there that don't know about it, I really don't want them to miss out. So let's go on with our next tag. I'm going to bring in a little scrap. So for the next tag, I have everything already cut out, so we don't have to go through that. But here's that little scrap that I used. Look how tiny that is. That's about, like I said, 2.5 by 2 3/4 to cut that tree out. And I have the base in green, and then I have that pretty Designer Series paper. And we're going to cut that into the layers. I already have all that done. Okay, so here are all the pieces already cut out. We have our tag that's embossed with the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. We have our base tree, which has the 3 tiers, and then we cut out the Designer Series paper and another part in the shaded spruce, and then our little tag topper and our little scrap. So we're going to start gluing this together. And here is our example. Okay, so this we're going to pop up on dimensionals. When you're making yours, after you have all the pieces cut out, go ahead and dry fit them and see how you want them to lay. And I encourage you to get creative and just go through all your scraps and look at all the paper choices that you have. And I'm sure you're going to be able to make lots of pretty tags with this layout. So again, this has that little score line. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp. And I'm going to stamp this one in real red. Okay, so nothing fancy. I did it really quick and easy. I think I might put a star on this one, dimensional underneath it to make it stay down. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of gold twine on here. Again, I'm just folding it in half and feeding it through from the front to the back. And then I'm going to bring in my punch to hold it down and keep it in place. And tie, this one we're going to tie a white bow. This was a different ribbon that I used, but I like it. Just have to play with it a little bit more. So let's bring in our tags that we made. And then this one, I made this one just the opposite of this one. I do like that star on there, so yeah, definitely add a star. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.